Hi folks, I wanted to show you my 132 scale layout so far. This is a sort of mishmash of toys and trains and other things I've collected to fit on my table here. It's not as realistic as I'd like. Eventually I'd like to do the terrain with some foliage and sculpted cobblestones, but for the time being I'm using this vinyl game mat to represent the cobblestone streets. The inner loop is a 1/32 scale Markland train, also known as gauge 1 or 1 gauge, or in German it's called Spur 1. And the outer rail is 1/32, but it's sort of a El Cheapo brand from China, I think called New-Ray. Yes, New-Ray. And the difference being is the center rail is more high-end hobbyist, transformer-driven electric train. The outer rail is just plastic track with a battery-operated train. However, as you can see, the scales are compatible. And for my Army Men themed world, they're going to be just fine. Showing you some of the buildings real quick. These are Sesame Street play sets. If you're going to do 1/32 scale, you have to track down the correct Sesame Street play sets. Some of them are more akin to 1/18 scale or 3.75 action figure scale. These ones are really good for 1/32 scale. As you see, they need to be painted up. They're just sitting here as placeholders, and I took them off their bases. I have all the stairs and all the doorways, and eventually they'll be painted up to look realistic. This is any town in Europe at the end of World War II, and it's going to be used to showcase my Army Men toy collection, and I'll switch it up as scenarios change and as I change some of the layouts, scenery and stuff like that. In the foreground here is a castle that's going to be the German high command, as you can see by the battle flag here. So this castle, I think, is from some education company, like making educational toys, but it scales pretty well with the Army Men. And then the castle in the background, my plan is to make a mega castle. It'll be elevated higher over the village as I get to it. But this castle is some sort of Super Mario Brothers toy. And you can see it scales pretty well with 1/35th scale figures here. But I interchange 1/35th and 1/32. Here's some figures here. As I've been getting into the trains and setting up the layout, I've discovered these metal 1/30th scale Del Prado figures, and I like them a lot because they're a little big, they're a little out of scale, but they pop and they really stand out on the layout. So I enjoy having that. Some other things around here. Got these crossing barriers, which are just a placeholder for now until I figure out something more era appropriate. These are Gashapon toys from Japan. You'd buy sets of them in a gumball type of machine and you assemble them as little models. I bought them because I intended to do a sci-fi train layout, and I still may in the future, but right now World War II is what it's all about. So I just threw them in here. I got some missing track sections. I will be filling those in when the new sections arrive. And some of you collectors might recognize some of these terrain buildings from Army play sets and some other 1/32 scale things. This church, for lack of a better word, that's Hogwarts Castle from the 3.75 inch action figure Harry Potter line. Works really well as a church for my European town. And then this line of figures here is just to give you a snapshot of what we're dealing with scale. And I primarily collect 1/18 scale or 3.75 inch action figures. That's this woman here. She's a custom I just completed last evening based on the character Osha from Disney's Acolyte Star Wars series. The guy in the blue jacket, that's a G scale figure from the Railroad Hobby. I want to use G scale trains with 3.75 inch action figures. So we'll get to that in later videos. The German General here, that's a wartime toy. I think he's 1/24th scale. Brand name is Lineal. These were toys made for German kids, made out of wood paste and glue. The guy in the tan here, that's a Del Prado figure, a metal figure. That's the ones I was just talking about. They're 1/30th scale. This soldier here, he's pitched as being 1/32nd scale. He's metal, and you can see, how the range differs. This female is a Barbie figure that I stumbled upon at the dollar store. I cut the pink Barbie base off, and she might look good in the background of one of the structures or something like that. This sad-looking mustache dude is the Model Railroad Hobby calls him 1/32nd. That's from a German company called Preiser. And then this soldier on the end is some sort of G.I. Joe tribute figure. That's pitched as 1/35th scale. So quite a range of figures, but you see how some of them, such as the 1/30th scale guy in the tan, can fit into the layout. And here's an example here, that soldier's 1/30th scale. So got a lot of work to do, but just wanted to show you all what it was like, how it's coming along, and we'll end with running some trains.